What is up, folks at home? Welcome back to the channel. It is September and it is time to go through our top 5 baits for catching bass in the month of September. Let's go. Oh yeah. Really good fish. Look at that monster. Let's go. So in September, we're talking all about transition, right? Fish are gonna be moving from their summer patterns into their fall patterns. So when we're talking about transition, each one of these baits is gonna have a very specific function. And a lot of September is junk fishing, right? It is stuff that I am doing as I'm coming up to that situation and as I find myself there. So I have a lot of rods on deck in September, a lot of different baits, but let's cover what I do. Number one, I have 3 or really 4 search baits and 1 contact bait that I really believe that get bit really well this time of year. The first one up is going to be the small swim bait, the 3-inch swim bait. I got on an 1/8 ounce Ebbn flow jig, and what I'm gonna do is literally fish this across all of those transition zones. In the fall, bass are going to work on pinning baitfish up in predictable ambush locations so that they can feed up on those shad and gorge up on those baitfish before winter. So the 3-inch swim bait is the perfect size to just generate some bites. A lot of fall fishing is searching for active fish and searching for fish that will bite. The 3-inch swim bait is going to do a fantastic job at generating those bites. Now, I love the Ebbn Flow Jighead and the MinnowZ because literally that bait is gonna stick on there and I can fish this one bait all day, all season, and it's not gonna come off. That Ebbn Flow upgrade jig does a good job of keeping that bait pinned on there and allowing me to target schooling bass, target lone wolf bass, pocket bass. It's got a slow fall, it's deadly on the swim, and it does a great job of generating bites when nothing else works. The second bait that I'm gonna start fishing transition areas and really working on is the Rattle Trap. And I'm gonna fish the smaller Rattle Trap until the water gets into the 50s, and I'm gonna go up to that 1/2 ounce trap and start ripping it out of any vegetation that I can find left. So the smaller 1/4 ounce trap in reds and silvers is gonna get the call at this time, and I'm specifically fishing this bait super aggressively through transition areas. I'm really working on ripping this bait out of existing vegetation, and I'm really looking to trigger some big bites. As we get colder and the water goes from the 70s to the 60s to the 50s, the trap bite is going to be on fire. I caught 2 of the biggest bass I caught last year on a trap doing exactly this. Right, match your trap. If you got dirty water, go red. If you've got clear water, go chrome or silver. And literally the trap is going to generate a ton of bites for me this time of year. The smaller trap will get bit in warmer water. The bigger trap is gonna get bit in that 50-degree temperature range. Let me tell you, throwing a 1/2 ounce trap in that 50-degree temperature range is going to generate some massive bites for you. And it's one of those things that just makes fish react, right? The third bait, also a search bait, is going to be any kind of topwater walking bait, right? I like the Strike King Sexy Dog simply because it's bang for your buck, it comes ready to fish, and it generates a lot of bites. I like the 3.5-inch version here with the 2 hooks, simply because I can cast this a mile and it walks, and generally a walking bait is one of those things that's going to generate bites. With fish being so keyed in on bait fish, a walking bait is gonna be killer over top of any green vegetation that you can find that is subsurface. A lot of guys rely on the frog this time of year. I love the walking bait. Don't get me wrong, the frog has a place, but I find that if I can find green vegetation that's still submerged, the walking bait over the top is going to elicit some vicious, vicious, vicious strikes. It comes back out and into the rotation this time of year simply because I can work it slower through some of these areas. This is a great pocket bait where they're pinning up those bait fish. It looks like a bait fish fleeing on the surface. This also can ignite schools of bass. I've been to Lake Cumberland in the fall when I can throw a walking bait in a pocket and those fish will come from 30 feet down and absolutely annihilate a walking bait in this situation. So it can get some of your biggest and best strikes this time of year. Throwing a walking bait can be super advantageous in generating those reaction bites that we're looking for. So far we have 3 baits that are open water specific, transition area specific, and covering a ton of water. In the fall, especially after turnover has happened and those fish are starting to school up, you're gonna have to eliminate a ton of water, and you need moving baits to do that. The next 2 baits, can be fished quickly, but they are super efficient. And it's going to be the 3/8 ounce spinnerbait. And I throw this with a 3.5-inch bait cave customs cave swimmer on there in matched pearl and white, and I like the double willow leaf spinnerbait at this time. Couple reasons why: one, baitfish; two, this can be knocked into dock posts, it can be knocked in to any kind of overhanging structure or cover, but I really like this in choke down areas. If you have a bridge and you have, you know, an area that's narrowing down and then opening back up, fluttering this on bridge pilings is deadly. Fluttering this over rock piles is deadly. Fluttering this over those last transition brush piles before they get into those pockets can be deadly. A spinnerbait gets the call. It is a nasty, nasty, nasty bait to generate a lot of reaction bites, and it does a great job of making fish react to that bait and want to bite it. I've had some of my best days on the water fishing smallmouth this time of year with a spinnerbait. Fish will come a long ways to hit it, and I like the double willow leaves. I like a number 4 willow leaf on there. This one's getting bitten so much and gotten so rusty I need to replace it, but this bait has literally got chewed. I replaced the keeper on it with a wire, right, because it has been chewed so much. One of my favorite spinnerbaits. I like that white crystal clear with a little bit of black in it this time of year, and those double silver willow leaf blades simply is just going to generate a ton of bites for you. The last bite, and really my only bait that is going to be technique and cover specific, is going to be the G-Crack America Bellows gill, and specifically the big one. This one I'm looking for any bluegill hanging around in the shallows. There's going to be bass following them, and sometimes it's the biggest bass in the body of water. During September, those bluegill are gonna move in shallow and inhabit those last patches of living weeds. If you can throw this bait in there, Texas rigged, weightless, you can absolutely positively run into some of the biggest bass on your body of water. For whatever reason, those big bass tune into those bluegill when other fish won't, because it's almost like an easier meal for them. It's almost like when those bluegill go on the bed to spawn. Right, throwing that big 5-inch bellows gill around those bluegill and fishing this bait through those last living patches of weeds is just going to generate a big bite. You're not going to catch a ton of bass doing this, but you're going to catch the right kind, if you get my drift, right? I used to throw weedless swim baits in there, big chunky weedless swim baits, but the bellows gill absolutely positively rigged weightless gives that water displacement, and it gives that vibe that I'm looking for this time of year. So there are 5 baits for the month of September. Guys, if you like what's happening on the channel, give us a like, subscribe, head on over to our links at Omnia, pick up these baits, let us know, head on over to Ebbn Flow Outdoors, pick up some Z-Man, pick up some upgrade jigs, let us know what baits you want to see underwater in the future. We're having a lot of fun on the channel right now. Help us help you. Thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. We'll see you next time.